Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today we are doing another Tuesday's tea time. It is Tuesday morning for me. By the time you see this, it will be Tuesday afternoon. So I hope wherever you are, your Tuesday morning was great, and it somehow involved tea. You can always tell when I film in the morning because I sound like a man. Hopefully the sun joins us later today, just even for a little bit. It's been raining here for pretty much the last week. We may have about a day and a half worth of reprieve from that, and then we're going to get soaked again for the next few days. Hurricanes, you gotta love them. They happen up here too. So we're just kind of getting like the leftovers of the hurricane. Like I'm way in there. Like I'm not even close. Like I shouldn't even be like complaining that we keep getting rain because the devastation that has happened because of these two hurricanes that are going through are just insane. So I should just shut up, be grateful for my tea. So yeah. Which is still really hot. Speaking of tea, I'm drinking Citron Oolong by David's Tea in a very old Teopia mug. Teopia doesn't exist anymore. Teopia got bought out by Teavana, which then got bought out by Starbucks. But, parent companies. So what's been going on in my life in the last week? Well, pretty much the same answer as last week. Work. I'm out of my training, quote unquote, training sessions. So I'm officially like on my own. But that said, I feel like the job that I do, every day you're asked questions that like isn't necessarily part of your job description, but it's also your responsibility to find out because you're the best person to ask. So I feel like every day, I still feel like I'm learning. And I'm the newest of the four people that do that. The one of the four have been doing it for, I think, 5 years now. And then I want to say 3 years. And then I think coming up on 2 years. And they definitely obviously know more than me, who's been doing it for like 3 weeks. But even they get asked questions all the time where they have to like really stop and think about it. And I'm looking forward to the fact that I won't ever know anything or won't ever know everything because it's going to keep it consistently fresh and new. And I'm really, really excited about that because I'm the kind of person who gets bored very easily. So, with the company that I work for, this is now my fourth position working for that same company. And it's been just about 5 years, but I took a year off. So really it's 4 positions in like 4 years. Because I took a year off to travel and that was amazing. And if you ever can get the opportunity to do that, I highly recommend you do it because it's life-changing and it's amazing. And yeah, that's as far as I can go with that because man, I can make a whole entire video just on that. So yes, I'm officially on my own in work now. I finally have a day off, which happens to be Tuesday. Yay for us. I just, been going really hard, but I'm really liking it. And it's definitely something, like I said, that's challenging, and keeps me physically active for 9 hours of the day, because it's fairly labor intensive. It's not like, you're going to break a sweat, but you're definitely moving your body for 9 hours a day. And I like that because, man, the only thing is I don't know if you'll be able to see, no, the lighting is too crazy, but I'm covered in bruises. Like, if I went to like the doctor right now between my legs and my arms, somebody would probably question whether or not I'm being abused. I'm not even like making light of that situation. Like, I'm covered in bruises. Because like I said, it's a very physical job and I just haven't gotten quite used to how to maneuver yet without kind of hurting myself. So hopefully, I stop bruising myself as the, time goes on. But yeah, so that's basically all that's been going on in my life. is just work. And I'm really okay with the fact that work has dominated my life. I've had a couple, get-togethers with friends and stuff like that, but nothing newsworthy, I suppose. So I just say, 5 minutes in, enough with the preamble. Let's just get into the questions. So as always, I've pulled up the questions from last week on my iPad, and let's get into it. So the first question comes from Labyrinth Rock Gal. It never occurred to me to name my pens until now. I do call my computer Bessie, but that's just when I'm impatient. Yeah, I have names for things when I get impatient too. My question for this week is, when did you become a connoisseur of tea? Did you grow up with lots of teas or just basic black? Happy tea day. No, I did not grow up with tea. We maybe had orange pico in our house growing up, maybe. But I was a juice or pop person, soda, depending on where you live. But I did not drink tea. Nobody in my family really drank tea. My aunt on my mother's side drank tea frequently. She'd have like a metal teapot, or not, I don't know if necessarily metal, but she'd have a teapot and she'd make tea all the time. And that would be the only time that I would like pretend that I liked tea, was because I wanted to have tea with her and I thought it was really cool and like grown up. But even then, that was like maybe once a year in the summer, maybe. I didn't start drinking tea frequently until I was in university. I moved into a house with 2 other people that I knew, and then a bunch of people that I didn't know. And one of those people that I didn't know is now my best friend. And he's actually the one that we travel with all the time. So it worked out well for me. And he actually introduced me to tea back when Teopia was a thing. He made a tea called Aztec's Gold, which was a fruit blend. And he asked if I wanted a cup. And I didn't really know him. I didn't really know what was going on. I just thought, why not? So he made me one, and it was delicious. It was so, so good. And that essentially started becoming our nightly routine. Every night, about 8 o'clock, we would meet downstairs and just have a nightly tea time. It was our way of, 1, ensuring that we could get to spend some quality time together. 2, taking a break from homework, taking a break from the stresses of school, just really being able to break away from all that, and just come together and enjoy each other's company, whether it was like having a snack or whether it was just tea. It was whatever. It was our tea time. And that was now 2009. Was that year. It's now 2016, and I still have nightly tea time. Now, he lives in Newfoundland now, so we don't have tea time together anymore. But I still have tea every night. The vast majority of nights. There are some, but it's a habit now that's ingrained in my life. I really enjoy it, and it just helps me relax at the end of the day. Whether it's been a long day at work, whether I've been chilling out at home all day, it doesn't really matter. So certainly not. I would say 2009 is, like I said, when I started getting involved in tea. And when you say basic black, I do enjoy basic blacks. Black teas are actually what I prefer anyways. Like I said, this is an oolong. Typically in the morning, I usually will have like an oolong or a green tea, but the majority of my nighttime teas are always black teas. They're just, I don't know, being able to add like sugar and milk and stuff like that just seems like super cozy to me. And that's what I want at that time of night. So that's kind of when I became a connoisseur of tea, I guess. I'm not like a tea person in the sense of like, I could smell like a tea leaf and be able to tell you what it is. Like, there are people that are like far beyond me. I am just like a lover of tea. But thank you for your question. The next question is Atul Chandra Tiwari. Miss, you got such fine taste and you do not wear a mechanical watch. Why so much Apple branding things? Please do advise me, as I'm going to buy Monteverde K2 fountain pen. Salut. So why so much Apple branding? Well, there's no Apple brand. Well, I guess this is Apple branding. I just really like their stuff. I've never had any issues. Anything I've ever bought from Apple has been built to last. This has been rocking on for like 2 years now. This is the original watch that came out. And I mean, that was just my pajama shirt that you, frankly, to be honest, that you saw, and the mug happened to have an Apple logo on it as well. No reason necessarily other than just I like the company. And as far as the Monteverde K2 fountain pen, I do have a video of that, which I will link somewhere in the iCard. I have no idea what side it's on, but it'll be in the iCard. I really enjoy that pen when it works well, but it doesn't always work well. So that's a little spoiler for you. But I do have a full length video, so I encourage you to check that out. And hopefully that will, give you a little bit of insight into what you possibly could be getting into. All right, so next question comes from Mystery Glow. My question for you is, how or when did you become first interested in fountain pens? Also, how many do you have and are they all inked? Most of mine are inked and I try writing with each one every week. Love your videos, Judy. Well, thanks, Judy. How or when did I become interested in fountain pens? I know I've told the story, but I'll tell it again. So my introduction into fountain pens was by accident. So I was ordering something and I can't remember what it was. So obviously it wasn't anything good, off of Amazon. And I typically don't like to pay for shipping. So if shipping, let's say, is like $6 and, I would rather get an item that costs like $7 or something, because then at least I get something for that money. So like, let's say like shipping is $6, but if you spend like $7 more, then your shipping is free, to like reach the cap or whatever they have. Then I would do it. I would rather pay like $1 more or something like that, so that I get something rather than just paying for empty shipping. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me, so hopefully. And that one happened to be the Pilot Metropolitan. It came up in like just, hey, maybe check this out, like kind of like center of Amazon. And so I was like, well, why not? It seems really random and really weird, and I probably wouldn't like it, but whatever. So I ordered the Pilot Metropolitan, and it came, and I opened it up, and then it sat on my desk for a while. And luckily it came with a cartridge because I didn't know what ink was. I knew nothing about fountain pens, like zero. I didn't even know what a fountain pen was, really. I Googled it to find out. So I popped in the cartridge, started writing, disappointed that it didn't start writing right away. And then I realized, okay, you probably have to wait for like the ink to come down. So, I gave it a flick or two, and then I waited a little bit and it started coming out. And then I still thought it was terrible. Because the paper that I was using was just like regular crappy paper, and it was just feathering and it was just not pretty. And so then I did some more Google search and found out that the paper I was using was gross. So I decided, all right, well, let me get some better paper, and I did. And then once I got the better paper, then I started realizing, okay, the nib is actually better now. It's more smooth. The ink doesn't just spread out and feather and bleed and ghost and all that kind of stuff. And then I started enjoying it. And then from there, honestly, it just bloomed. I would say within the next year, I had probably 12 fountain pens, all like relatively cheap. Like I would say like $100 or less. And then since that, because I'm now coming up on my 2-year anniversary of fountain pen love, I am probably pushing like 70 fountain pens. I'm not even lying. But I do plan on selling over half of them when I get to Scriptus at the end of the month. Not because they're not great fountain pens. They're amazing fountain pens. It's just I don't use them because, quite frankly, I have too many. And my tastes have changed so dramatically in the last 2 years that I really want to be able to, send the rest of my pens out into the world, into, love land where people can actually use them. I will always keep that silver Metropolitan though, just because that's what got it all started. And it's got a, special place right here. As far as, are they all inked? No, that would be far too much. In fact, I only have 2 pens that are inked right now. I have my Aurora Optima, which I just got inked up with Diamine Ancient Copper. And then I have a Montblanc 147 inked up with Montblanc Permanent Blue ink. And that's not even my pen. It's a borrowed pen that I have to give back when I go to Scriptus. So right now I actually only have 2. I just did a big clean out though. I just shot a whole bunch of review videos that'll be coming up over the next few weeks for you guys. So I just did a whole big clean out of all those. So that's why I'm down to 2 inked up, which seems so weird, but like oddly satisfying, if that makes any sense. So yeah. So Judy, thank you for the question. So now that brings me to Connor Flynn. So he talks about tea and what he's tried. He's tried a salted caramel black tea and a Lipton green tea, but I know I brewed it wrong. The only one I liked was a pre-bottled green tea, so it was probably filled with sugar. Probably. The reoccurring problem is that to me, the tea, especially the salted caramel, tastes a lot like hot water with just enough flavor to taste bad. To get to my question, can you give me some teas that have a lot of flavor? Thank you. Connor, you don't tell me exactly in the question how long you steeped it for, how much you used, all that kind of thing. What I would recommend is take the teas that you already have and try brewing them again. So however much you used in the first go around, use like double that. I usually use like a David's Tea Perfect Teaspoon, which I thought was a teaspoon, but apparently it's not. I was actually told that it's equivalent to like 2.5 teaspoons. So apparently I used 2.5 teaspoons of tea into like my mug. So whatever amount you use like double that, and then also steep it for twice as long. So if you steeped it for like 2 minutes, steep it for 4 minutes. If you steeped it for 3 minutes, steep it for 6 minutes, because that's going to intensify the flavor like tenfold. Again, you also didn't tell me if you added anything. If you're adding things like milk or sugar, that can also dilute the flavor a little bit. So you may need to, again, adjust your steeping time to compensate for that. So try just simply doing that with the teas that you already have. As far as like teas that have a lot of flavor, I could sit here for days and days and days and days and days. Really the best thing for you to do at that point would be to go into a loose leaf tea shop and actually like have them bring down the tins. Like they're usually like in tins about like this big. Some of them will do jars, but they'll essentially let you smell them, and you can actually ask them like which ones are really strong. A lot of people coming over from the coffee world into tea don't have an easy transition time because tea is a more delicate flavor than coffee. Coffee is very strong. It punches you in the face. And it's really abrasive, whereas tea is much more subtle than that. So until you get to adjust your own brewing times and get to adjust your own expectations of tea, you may have a little bit of a bumpy road. I never came from coffee. I've hated coffee. I love the smell of coffee, but I've hated the taste of coffee pretty much my entire life. So I never had that like adjustment period. But just try those simple little things first before you get like too crazy into like buying more. Just as a suggestion. But always would I recommend going into another shop and like checking that out. So next question, Emily Hernandez. Do you have any favorite ballpoint or rollerball pens? Dun, dun, dun. Not really. No. If I'm going to use a rollerball or anything like that, I have a gel rollerball that's like a Pilot G2. Those ones aren't too bad. They are relatively smooth and they have decent flow. I have a variety pack of those. One of them is kind of terrible. The ink is like pasty and comes out weird, kind of like it does in a ballpoint. But the others are okay. Emily, to be honest, I very, very, very rarely ever use one. I will generally go out of my way to not use one. At work, occasionally I'll jot down a note or two with one, but I really don't have enough to be considered a favorite. Like I said, Pilot G2 are the ones that I own. They're the ones that I use when I have to. But I wouldn't consider them a favorite of mine or anything like that. But yeah. Sorry, I don't have a better answer than that. So my last question comes from Larry Barones. He says, where did you get the pen and the ink? David or John is the man who sells these pens and will adjust your nib the way you want it. I like a wet nib. And is this pen $200 or $400? So I'm assuming he's referring to the Aurora Optima with Oraloid, with burgundy Oraloid, the one that I featured in last week's video. Where I got the pen, I bought it from Nibsmith. So Dan Smith, he does he tunes the nibs before he sends them out for free. He can adjust flow. He could grind the nib, that kind of thing. If you wanted an architect grib, grind, or you wanted anything really, just even a tune and smooth kind of thing, he'll do that. So I'm not sure who David or John is, but basically Dan Smith does the same thing. I like a wet nib. So do I. I had Dan make sure that this one, I told him that I didn't quite want it Visconti wet, but I wanted it pretty close. And I think he did a really good job. And is this pen $200 or $400? So it's $400 US pricing. So it's not an inexpensive pen, but it's one I've had my eye on for quite a while. It is beautiful, and I have a feeling it's going to be in my rotation for at least a year. It's going to be in there for a very long time. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I'm not going to again go too much into it because I am going to do a full review on it. So I don't want to spoil it too much, but I definitely love it. So hopefully you were talking about that pen. If you weren't, leave a comment below and I'll adjust what I was talking about. I just assumed that that's what you were talking about. But yeah. So that is the end of the questions for today, but I do have a question of my own for you all. If you made it to the end of this video, congratulations and thank you very much. My question is going to go back to the rollerball, actually. Rollerball bowl. Jeez, I can't speak. I need more tea. Better. Rollerball or ballpoint. Do you guys in the fountain pen world, I assume most of you are fountain pen users, have any favorites of gel rollerballs, ballpoints, anything like that? Do you have any favorites? Do you use them frequently? Do you kind of avoid them like I do now? Some people in the fountain pen world look, down on those like they're just this dirt of the earth. I don't really have anything against them. I just choose not to use them if I can. But guys, do you have any favorites? Leave me some examples down below, kind of thing like that. Just tell me all your secrets. So that's my question of the day. Like I said, for me, I don't tend to use them very much, but I don't have anything against them. They don't give me the writing experience that I want. So when I choose to write more than a one-word thing, I usually make sure that I can use a fountain pen. But that, despite the fact that I have not made too much of a dent in my tea, I talked too much in this one. I didn't drink as much, but have no fear. This will get finished. So yeah, despite the fact that my tea is not done, my questions are done, and I have all out of things to say. So guys, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. New videos every Monday and Friday about pen related content. And then of course, these I try and make every Tuesday as often as I possibly can. So definitely hit the subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up button if you don't or haven't already. That means a lot and it really does help me out. Like I said, I'm going to try and link as much as I can in the iCards above, whichever section it happens to be. So check those out. And the most important thing for Tuesday's Tea Time is you guys getting in that comment section below and just hitting me with those questions. I read them all. I try and answer them in all the other videos right on that video. And then, of course, these like this. So guys, thank you again, and I will see you next time.